What's going on, everybody? This is James Gray, Master Facts Voice, and you're here for another episode of Facts Project. Today, very special guest, Nick Edwards. We're here to talk about the Apostasy. Thank you for being here.
Oh, no, thanks for having me, James. Happy to be here.
Absolutely. So, as of right now, what is it? You're completely funded in your goal on Kickstarter. This is your third go round on Kickstarter. You did Gator Man Kills, and you also did Stilettos.
Yeah,
Now,
that's right.
how did you come to the premise of the Apostasy? Tortured souls and an existential crisis in hell.
Yeah, that's it, man. So back in 2022, I met Dave Schuler, who drew the book, and we met at the Allentown Night Market, which is just a cool arts festival outside of Pittsburgh. And I was just immediately drawn to his stuff because he had a table set up. He was a vendor there, so he had some of his art on display. And I just saw it. It was just like crazy stuff, like creepy and weird and unsettling, all in like the best ways, of course. So I've just, immediately hooked me. So we started talking, and I told him, I was like, man, I write comics, like you do awesome stuff. You ever thought about drawing one? And he was like, oh yeah, I thought about it. And so we just, exchanged contact info and left it from there. And so I didn't even, and at that time, I didn't even have the idea for this story in my head. But I knew I wanted to write a script that like this specific guy could like draw really well with like creepy creatures and just insane visuals and things like that. And I mean, he delivered, the book looks awesome. So it was great. Yeah, very serendipitous.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, when you have these two perennial characters, Gainsbourg, very interesting name. How do Gainsbourg and of course this newly damned soul by the name of Katie, how did you conceive their dynamic?
So it's like a lone wolf and cub story, right? So like that's a tried and true dynamic, like Joel and Ellie, Logan and Laura, just the it repeats and I think it's really compelling. But the story, so Gainsbourg is yeah, he's this torturer in hell. And he's been doing it for eons, right? And it's he's good at it and he likes doing it. It's like his favorite thing to do, but he's been doing it forever. So what happens when a character like that encounters a soul that he doesn't believe deserves to be there? Like how would that character react and what would that be like? And so, that dynamic and then their relationship are sort of what kind of drive the story a little bit, and it was fun to write them both. And I think they both have pretty interesting arcs.
Definitely. Now, if we're talking about like one of your past works, I saw you had a tagline that kind of, I guess, parallels into this one. It said in Stilettos, monsters don't always look like monsters.
Yeah.
But in this case, also in the same breath, the monster doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes compassion is the theme that kind of like comes out of somebody that has this grotesque quality of somebody that is a demon from hell.
Yeah, I think it's cliche to say, but you can't always judge a book by its cover, for better and for worse, right? I think what Batman, but like what I do, what's I can't even remember the quote, but it's like what I do that defines me, or not who I am, or I can't remember. I'm butchering it, but yeah, no, I think it's just always good to look past the surface and dig into, what really makes somebody tick.
For sure. For sure. Now, being as how this is a horror, what
Yeah.
horror and dark fantasy works inspired the apostasy?
Oh man.
Aside from Lone Wolf and Cub.
For sure, for sure. I mean, like I guess there's like a lot of Hellraiser in there, because there's
Mm.
a lot of like that, the torture stuff with like Pinhead and all of his creepy little friends and their BDSM outfits and everything like that. Um, but also though, like I think visually Dave did a really good job with the look and feel of Hell too, because it just feels like very, very desolate. So there's a kind of almost like a Western feel to it as well. You've got some like interesting face-offs as well. But I tried to, you have these characters who are these like demonic torturers, and that's like
Yeah.
inherently unrelatable. Like that's like the least relatable thing to like the human condition that you could have. But they're also like these are union guys, like these are guys who are like going to work, like clocking in and clocking out, like, oh, another day at the office, back to the old grind. And so like it's this fun juxtaposition that I tried to make of like something that's so unrelatable, but then I think something that people would like connect with and would resonate with folks.
Right. And it's almost I guess a 180 moment.
Yeah.
Somebody like Gainsbourg is in a routine.
Yes.
No, and he's and you hear about this whole thing of like a almost like a devil's cycle.
Hmm.
It's never ending. So he's
Hmm.
a torturer, torturing souls nonstop. It's a consistent routine until it isn't. So how did compassion break that in order for that to be the overarching theme of this?
Oh, I mean, it's a question that we asked with the book, but like, if you got to do your favorite thing every day
Yeah.
for eternity, like forever,
Hmm.
would you get tired of it? Like, would it
I think so.
eventually, like, yeah, yeah, I think so too. Like, would it eventually start to like wear on you? And would you eventually start to like lose your faith a little bit? Which is where, the title comes into play with the apostasy. And so that's kind of where the story finds Gainsbourg at the beginning, is he's like just having these feelings and everything. And
Yeah.
then he meets Katie. And that sort of, I think, like kind of sends him over the edge and kind of makes him, you know, flip everything on its head and realize, like, hey, maybe I need to look for more from life.
Mm. Now, I had to look it up myself. The
Yeah.
apostasy, of course, means uh, in the Bible, it means desertion of one's faith, of their
Right.
principles, of your religion. So, in essence, somebody like Gainsbourg, this has been his whole. I guess I can't say his whole life, but his this is his eternity.
This is who he is. Yeah, he in the book we say he's been doing it for eons, and so that, yeah, this is who he's is. This is who he is. This is what he's about. And like what would make somebody change that? What would make somebody completely like go against the existence that they have come to know and live in for eons? And I just there was something just really intriguing about that idea. And then especially when you think about like, well, and this existence is also like being a demon and like torturing people. I don't know. It was fun to craft and play around with some of those ideas.
Yeah, because all in essence, you're actually like you're exploring the psychology of a demon.
Right. Well, and
And
how do you do that?
yeah,
Yeah.
and he's questioning his purpose.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Exactly.
that just seems to be like I can't just torture people this entire time. I know I'm under like some sort of surveillance or anything like that. Like somebody's going to come down here and figure this out.
Oh yeah. Yes. And that's a big part of the book too, is there are some other characters who don't want anybody to go against the grain, right? Maybe there are some people who are invested in maintaining the status quo. And so maybe when Gainsbourg and Katie go on their vision quest to find what they're after, maybe there's some people who set out to stop them too. And that's a fun dynamic because, what's a story without conflict in some way?
Right. And I was actually going to ask, is there any pivotal characters aside from Gainsbourg and Katie that we should be looking out for? That will be more so, I guess, supporting characters that can more so carry themselves in this book that are there to stop Katie and Gainsbourg from doing exactly what they need to do.
Or I mean, well, in hell there's a king, right? There's the dude who's running the show, and Dave really gave him an awesome design, and we had some fun with the lettering for when he speaks to like make it distinct. So that was cool. But then there are also one of my favorite things that I got to see come to life with this book as Dave sent me pages and drew it is there's the King's secret police that he dispatches to, fix the problem, right? And these are three demons that are all pretty crazy. And I really, with Dave, I gave him no direction on like what they look like or anything. I was just like, three demons, have fun, not like go crazy. And he just like I started getting them back, and I was just like doing figurative backflips. I was just like, oh man, this looks so cool. Then like one after another, and so it was neat. It was fun. Yeah,
Now let's talk about Dave Schuler for a second. Now,
sure.
this the way that you spoke to me about how you introduced him, and has he done comic book work before for when you basically like brought him to do this for was this like his first crack at it? I'm gonna do a whole book.
So I learned this later, but he has done stories for two anthologies, the first and third volumes of this book called Memoirs of the Morbid, which is pretty great. And I believe the third volume Kickstarter campaign uh I believe just ended actually. So think this is his first real standalone work, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool and pretty cool to be a part of with him. But yeah, there we go. Check out Memoirs of the Morbid too.
Mm. Now, how do you think that he managed? Because always people always talk about writers managing the pacing. How do you think he managed your pacing?
Well, I kind of just let him do stuff in his
Okay.
own time, honestly. And yeah, we're all in the indie game, right? This is all
Yeah.
side gigs for all of us. Like I've got my big boy job, and Dave has his job. He's got a wife and kids. Like he's got responsibilities, and so
Yeah.
I think, and I think also too for like the writer versus the artist, the workload is very different. Like I can write, the, James walks into a room and sits down. That takes me 20 seconds to write. But that if you want that to be drawn well and
Mhm.
drawn competently, that could take somebody, hours and hours and hours to do. And so the workload for the writer and artist is very different. And I
Yeah.
and I just I try to respect that as much as I can.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's funny because like of course I got a chance to look at some of the like the sample pages, and the art style is a lot of line art, a lot of shading, but there's these singular color palettes
Yeah.
that showcase something that's ultimately extraordinary happening throughout the page.
Yeah.
That that is something that I feel as though a lot of like very distinct artists do. Did he tell you that he was going to do that? Like, I'm going to black and white and grayscale this whole thing, but when some shit really happens, I'm gonna color it up.
Yeah. No, that was something we talked about going into it was we both wanted to do like some creative splashes of color. Um, like the work that I can probably point to that was an inspiration there was just Sin City. Obviously,
Okay.
that like 90% of that book is in black and white, but then like when something is in color, it really pops.
Yep.
Excuse me. And that's like just, one of the greats, right? One of the all-timers, and so color wise, there's sort of an homage there. But then I too, so this is my first time trying this, but I actually lettered the Apostasy as well, and so I tried to do some creative stuff with color with the letters as well, with the different characters and how they talk, and different colors for different characters and things like that, which was a fun challenge. I think I would be. Definitely won't be the last book I letter, but I'll be looking forward to a book with just people that talk with plain white speech bubbles and
Yeah.
black font. I'll be looking forward to that. But yeah, we had some fun with color for sure.
Is that something that you always wanted to get into? Is like you wanted to letter one of your books at one point in time?
You know what? Not consciously, but I think it's a way that I can maybe take one thing off the artist's plate, then I can do that. Just allow that, and I think I've been pretty spoiled up to this point. At least my first two books. Scott Beecher did both of those. He did everything full stop. He did outlines, pencils, inks, letters, everything, you name it. I just wrote a script. And so this way it lets me as much as I can like lighten the load on them, even if it's just this one thing, letters. But it taught me a lot, and I think it's really changed the way of how I write scripts.
Right.
because I used to, and not even thinking about it, I would write a page with a panel with like five characters and each person's talking and they're like talking over each other and going back and forth and like trying to letter that is a nightmare. And so I will not. It really has like just made me look at comic composition in a whole new light. And so learning through that experience, I think, has been really valuable.
Understood. Understood.
Yeah,
Now, if we could talk about Katie for a second.
for
Now,
sure.
in her arc, how does she change the world that she enters? Well, in this case, change the hell that she enters.
Sure. Uh, Katie is a really, really interesting character, and without getting too much into spoiler territory, I just she was really, really fun to write. I think she has a very, very interesting arc because she's meant to be, what would happen when if a 12-year-old girl found themselves in like the darkest pit of hell. Like that sounds terrible. That's like really, really scary. And just like how would that person react? What if she's maybe tougher than she initially seems? What if there's more to Katie than meets the eye too? And so getting answers to some of those questions is pretty central to the book.
Now, is there a real life Katie? Is there somebody that she ultimately represented?
Really.
Okay, got you. Got
Yeah.
you. Now, hell is like a concept to where it can be a little overwhelming. How do you manage to keep the story manageable?
So I
It's a
don't
it's a vast thing. People make
sure.
it,
Yeah.
the way it's done in popular IPs, it can be illusions, it can be
Yeah.
dreamscape, it can be this rustic world. Like
Yeah.
how did you describe it?
So I think that's one thing that's fun about it is like
It can be anything.
you can kind of do whatever you want with it. I know in one season of Supernatural, I think hell was just like people endlessly waiting in line. And that's like, kind of a cool like just take on it, right?
Yep.
Um with my take on it though, I wanted to do something that was both like very alien and like a little familiar. So like, there's a city in hell where people live and commute to work and like, do all that. But then there are also these like terrible wastelands outside and like very like crazy demonic hellscapes and everything. So I really honestly didn't I didn't I never try to engage with world building more than I have to. I more just try to focus on characters when I'm writing a story and so I don't necessarily map out everything, right?
Got
Because I think I don't know, just to me, and I know a lot of people would disagree with me about this, but I think that can just be a little boring. And so I wanted to just like flesh out as much of the world as was necessary to tell the story about these characters.
got you. Got you. Now, I feel as though the story itself, especially in Gainsbourg's sort of point of view, it's kind of like as with all the stories, there's an allegory to it of breaking a burden that's constantly on your back. And then necessarily when you do get out of it, it's kind of like if you've been doing something for so long, what do I do when I stop?
Yeah. And who am I if I no longer do that thing? What does that mean for my identity? How do I rectify that in my psyche? Um, can my ego take that kind of hit? Like, yeah, no, I think because we all attach ourselves to our jobs and like just or our jobs, our interests, the way we spend our time. I mean, what is identity, right? I'm getting way esoteric in this piece now, but yeah, it's I mean, it's big questions, right? Big
Yeah.
questions, and I took it upon myself with this book to tackle some of those questions with like crazy demons in hell.
Hmm.
Which is just, I think, I don't know. You got to have fun with it too. We could tackle heady subjects and still have fun.
Right. And the thing
Yeah.
is, to be honest, it can be treated like a workplace because once he does stop, people want him to go back to work. It's like
Exactly.
you're our number one employee. What are you doing
Exactly. Like you're employee of the month. Like
every
you're
month?
yeah, right. Your face is up on that wall, the picture, next to the under the boss's photo. And yeah, you can't just like abandon your post. What are you, crazy?
Yeah,
And so it's just again that mix of something that is like so unrelatable and so crazy and alien and fantastic juxtaposed with like something that I think everybody has probably felt at one point in time of like, oh, I gotta go to work today and like that sucks. And so that mix was fun for me to explore.
yeah, and then it's like at the end of the day, it's like you had a career. This is what you've always worked for, and you realize after eons of doing it, you don't really like it.
And maybe you liked it for a while. May like you were there were probably
It,
like
it
some
was
really good
enjoyable.
years, good times. Like and you know, like and you're also good at it too, right? Like
Yeah,
I think everybody likes to win. Everybody likes to be good at something and be competent. And so, you know, there's that element too of like I'm really good at it. But again, it's just like every day forever. It's that's like forever's a long time.
it is a long.
Uh yeah, yeah.
So, what do you think you've done differently or learned from your earlier projects?
Sure. Going back to the lettering thing, I feel like that was the big learning experience with this book and just how it's going to affect future projects of mine, of just how I would break up maybe different characters and how they speak and the page layouts there.
Yeah,
That's a huge piece that I learned. Um, a lesson that I continue to learn with each successive Kickstarter campaign that I've done though is just like never be too proud to like go to family and friends and like you know just it's all about networking really it's all who you know none of the Kickstarters that I've been involved with would be successful without support of like people in my corner.
yeah,
And you can't be too proud to do that. And hopefully we all have people in our life that want to help us succeed and want to like support us in those ways. And so I think it's just about being open to that and not letting pride mess with you really too much.
yeah. And nobody questioned the fact. We're like, hey, what's your next project about? Well, I'm doing a project about hell. And really?
Really, you are. That's pretty cool. You know, and like I'm not really like a religious person or
Right, right,
anything
right.
like that, but like I'm from the South, you know, like
Okay.
I've got, you know, I've got, you know, people in my family and in my life who are, and that's, you know, that's great. But you know, I think people understand that you know, I think people can probably separate those things.
Oh yeah, especially when it.
I think we're adults.
Yep. Especially when
Yeah.
it comes to comics, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Now, what or who are you reading or watching now that you would recommend?
Oh man, what am I watching now? Right. So right now, actually, just before this, so I never watched Battlestar Galactica, and my girlfriend loves it, and so we've been watching through it, and we are about halfway through the final season of Battlestar Galactica. Man, it is so good. Like I didn't really know much about it. I knew like. You know, from The Office, like Bears Beats Battlestar Galactica, like, you know, it was, you know, crazy sci-fi show.
Yeah.
But I keep like it keeps surprising me with how good it is. So it's really good, and I've managed to. I'm knocking on some wood right now. I've managed to remain spoiler free for, you know, the 20 plus years that it's been going on. But that's been really good, honestly. Past that, I'm also watching The Chair Company on HBO,
That just
which
dropped.
is
Yes.
yes. It is hilarious. I love Tim Robinson. I think he's just one of the funniest people ever. The show is insane, and it's really unsettling in a lot of ways. And
It's my type
even
of
at
weird.
yeah, yeah, big time, big time. So if anybody like if you like I Think You Should Leave, or Friendship, the movie that he did. This is you're like, yeah, the Chair Company is great. And then I'm reading the current Ultimate Universe comics that
Yeah.
Marvel's doing right now, like Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man and
Yep.
Peach Momoko's Ultimate X-Men. And those are like really, really pretty good, like across the board, like all of those. Like I keep with each issue of Denise Camp's Ultimates, I'm just like how is it this good? Like it's the best superhero comic I've read in years. It is kind of mind blowing with each issue. So those are really good books for sure.
Do you feel sort of way that it's ending? It was heard that it's ending in
Yes. I love it. I love that it's ending. I hope it actually is, and I hope it's not just like a marketing gimmick, and then we're
I
gonna
think
get
it's
like
ending.
we're gonna do Ultimate Universe again, and like
Right.
and so like yes, I heard it. Like if it is true, I'm prefacing all this with like the asterisk of like if it's true, right?
Right.
Because they're always doing something, weird and crazy, always trying to sell more books. But
Yep.
like if their announcement is true, if they are ending it, I love it. I think that more story, like I love, all the cyclical soap opera-y stories behind all these characters that we all know and love, right? But
Yeah.
there will never be a last Spider-Man story. Like it's never going to happen. And I appreciate just a story with a beginning, middle, and end. And so I am all for it, I'm hopeful that it will just like get to stand on its own as like a great story that people can experience all of. And I honestly, I wish we had more of that in modern comics.
Right. Because it's a
Yeah.
total shell shock because it's almost like we never really got an adult, like a grown Spider-Man.
I know. It's yeah, it is great. It's really cool. And I mean, I think, yeah, I don't think Peter has to be miserable and broke and 20 to be relatable necessarily. Like I think that, he is a lot of the times, and that's okay. I mean, he's Peter Parker. People would argue that those are like central tenets to his characters, but it's just, I think what is good about like superhero comics with these like really established characters is just when a creative can just like kind of take these characters and give us their unique spin on them. I always think that's cool.
Yeah, definitely, man. Now back to Apostasy. Who
Yeah.
who do you think is the ideal reader for the Apostasy, and what do you think they're going to walk away with after reading this?
I think this story is good for just somebody who's looking for something a little different, and somebody who wants to really dig into a story with some really creative art, and maybe somebody who's not afraid of a little gore
Hmm?
too, honestly. Because surprise, there's it's a gory story. Um, but yeah, so somebody who is maybe just tired of the same old story and wants to change things up a bit, I think would be a good reader for this.
All right. Now, as far as the three stories that you've done on Kickstarter, you've done crime, you've done slasher, you've done, and now here with horror and gore. You now told me that you watched Battlestar Galactica. Do we sense a sci-fi genre book in the future?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I actually wrote a script for a sci-fi story that I think is really awesome earlier this year. And it's, nowhere close to becoming realized yet, but I won't say the title, but the quick pitch that I think is pretty compelling is RoboCop slash Terminator meets Kill Bill in space. And so it's this bombastic sci-fi action revenge story with like a main character that I think is really, really cool, that people would like. And the script, it was super easy. It was like sometimes scripts can be like a little difficult to write, but this one
Yeah.
was just like super easy to write. And it was great. And yeah, well, it's still, very much in its infancy, but it's written. It's pretty fully baked.
Excellent, man. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of had me at RoboCop and Terminator
Right. I know that those are two greats. Yeah.
for sure, man. Well, Nick, I appreciate you doing this with me.
Oh, James, thanks for having me, man. You were cool to talk to. This was great.
Absolutely. So, as of right now, I think what we how many days we got left on the campaign?
We got until December 1st, so it's running
Oh,
all
you
of
got all of
November, which
November.
is great. Yeah, we got time. We're playing with house money now. It's great.
You're not even lying. So, as of right now, of course, Apostasy has about like 19 days left in the campaign. If you haven't had a chance already, go out there and get that. The campaign is live right now. Nick Edwards, of course, we had this brilliant talk about the book. And if you haven't had a chance to basically contribute to this campaign, do your due diligence and get a chance to do so as of right now. Nick, thank you again. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, James. This was great. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. So for everybody here at the Facts Project, Nick Edwards, James Boyce, we are out.